All right, here we are with Kendra Faustin, also known as Kendra Harris. Kendra and I go way back, probably to, I want to say like 96-ish, because you were coming to camp as a high schooler, I believe, when I probably first met you at Oakland.
At Oakland, yeah.
I was in college. You were a high schooler. I entered college.
It was like yesterday.
It was like yesterday. Feels like yesterday. I played against Kendra. I also coached Kendra. When I say that, it makes our age feel like I'm drastically older. I'm really not.
You are.
Yeah, I mean, I think for all intents and purposes, we're like a year apart.
We're
2 grades in 1 year, I think.
Age-wise, we are 3 years apart.
No way.
Yes.
How? I think I did coach you 3 years. Okay, that makes more sense. I always feel like it's 2, but 3 felt like 7. So
what? More to me than you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So easy to coach. Oh my God.
One of my favorite memories with Kendra is recently. By recently, I mean approximately 5 years ago now. We went back for Coach Dunbar's. We went back to Lake Superior State for Coach Dunbar's. Yeah. Induction into the Hall of Fame, and Kendra and Autumn Matson, formerly known as Autumn Waite, were telling me stories of things I said and did that I had zero recollection of. Zero. And they're like, "You were right," and I was like, I just don't remember. It's so weird to me. Yeah.
You blacked it out because you barely survived us.
that is likely the case. That
happens to me all the time with our players. They'll be like, "Remember when you said?" And I was like, "No, I don't remember." but what a lesson to what a powerful position it is, and like what a responsibility it is to choose your words, man. Because our players remember everything, and they think I know everything, which is like I keep telling them I don't know everything. I don't.
Tell them to call me.
Yeah.
I can reassure them otherwise.
No, every time Chris Dunbar comes into like our practice, or she's around, she's the commissioner of our league, and they're always like, "Tell us stories." I'm like, please don't. I know. I like, I was like, I don't know, 98% idiot, and I would never do those things now.
You were 100% 18 to 22-year-old. That's what you were.
Yeah. That perspective, man. Oof. I tell our players all the time, I just wish that I could give you perspective, and it's only something that you can gain through experience.
Yep.
I can tell you, oh yeah, I made that mistake. And I remember Coach doing the same thing. I made that mistake. You don't want to do that. But they don't know. Like the best lessons are the ones that you learn the hard way, unfortunately. You remember them.
I say this all the time, and I think you and I have discussed this. I read the book Range, and I love this book. I mean, I talk about it a lot. And one of the things in there is giving the wrong answer is better than giving no answer, because even when you do or give the wrong answer, once you're corrected and the right answer is told to you, you remember it more because you originally gave the wrong one. And you probably have some dialogue on why yours is right and vice versa, and you just lock that in.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is exactly what we're talking about. Until you do the wrong thing, you don't always remember the right thing.
No. And getting the wrong answer gets you closer to the right answer. Like you've eliminated options.
Yeah. Think how many rules as college coaches we broke. Didn't even know they were rules.
Yeah.
Because that book is thick.
But you remember it when you
remember it when you get that phone call to the principal's office.
Say, I made a mistake. Dang it.
Yeah, that's right. Then it just matters if you're ask for forgiveness person or.
Yeah, that's the kind of person I am.
Yeah. I am aware of that.
Oh, really? I think rules, when I understand them, are really important, and that's why we coach to sort of who we are. We try to meet our players where they are, but I want our players to understand the rationality of why we don't have a lot of rules, but we do have some, and I want them to understand why.
Yeah. Because
I know that if I didn't understand why, if I don't have a full understanding, like when I ask questions about rules, like, well, why do we have this? It's not because I don't think we should have it. I just want to understand so that I can make intelligent decisions and really, weigh the scale. Is it breaking or is it not? Like,
you're actually seeking the importance level. Yeah. What's the damage actually going to be if I don't follow this? That's understandable. Kendra, we're not going to talk a ton about coaching today. We can, but I'd probably rather not. I want this to be a more of a get to know Kendra Faustin, the person.
Ooh, are you sure?
I would like everybody else to get to know Kendra Faustin. I feel like I know you pretty well.
Yeah.
And so I was a little nervous actually to come on and ask some questions because you also know me pretty well.
Yeah, and I'll fire right back. Yeah.
Correct. And so then I thought to myself, for every story Kendra tells about me, I have another one in the bank about her. So I know this is going to go great and will be enjoyed by many.
Oh yeah.
And I probably should have stated to people who will be watching this that maybe don't know who you are. Kendra is the head coach at Ferris State University. Gosh, I didn't even say that. We coached against each other. So I played against you. I coached against you and coached you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got history.
We got baggage. We got baggage.
History baggage, whichever word you choose is good.
Yeah. It's really a unique situation when you've competed against somebody as a player, then they go and coach you. And we all know, you know, and then you compete against them as a professional. That's some pretty strong ties. We've competed against each other a lot. Thank heavens, you know, you coached me and were a good coach because you wouldn't really like me very much, probably.
I've always liked you, Kendra.
Oh, thanks.
Kendra, you are a lot of the things that I am not, that I wasn't. And I like that because I need those kind of people around me.
I feel the same way. We're really a good balance for each other.
Yeah.
Sure. What ways do you think we're opposites and we push each other's thinking?
Oh, well, you're much more of a rule breaker.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that in the best way possible. Like you challenge the rules.
Yeah.
Where I'm just kind of like, oh, well, that's what they said. I need to do that. Like I'm probably more of a challenger now than I was when I was like 22. I just did what people told me. Gosh, you are actually way more introspective and big picture thinker than I am.
Yeah, you're way better at the details.
Yeah, I'm way more like you give me the big, like tell me the big picture and here's what needs to happen, then I can go ahead and detail it up.
Yeah.
Or
I think we're a really good team. We should continue to partner on some things.
We should think about it. I was thinking about this quote today, or this, I didn't make it up, but I was thinking about how the days are long, but the years are short.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like more than ever that is happening right now, right? The days are long, the years are short, but we are going to be just wishing for this time back in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know? And so like these days feel really long at times, but I'm like, man, I got to be doing something with this. And I'm trying to figure out where I get stuck is trying to figure out how can I use these, whatever this is 2 months or whatever this is going to be, to do something big in 6 months. And that's where I get caught. I can't big picture that as well.
I reference that all the time in parenting is, you know, my kids are 7 and 8 and I still see them as like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how did this happen? They're asking me right now, they're asking me like real questions. It's not just about like keeping them alive when they were little, like right. Don't fall down the stairs. No, you cannot put your finger in that outlet.
Yeah.
It is like real questions about like, well, how come some lying is okay and some is not? And I was like, well, like hard questions, like,
yeah,
why does he or she look like that? Why does he or she talk like that? Why, you know, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And you have to be really thoughtful because it's so literal. Super
curious. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's awesome. And you don't, you know, we're born at this awesome state and they're just like so free and have so much fun. And like, there's so much joy in everything. And somehow it gets taken away. And
adults ruin it. Sit down, be quiet. No, you can't do that. Have a seat.
Yes.
Stifle it.
Yeah. Those rules again.
Kendra, let's just start off with something big. Let's start off with a big question.
Ooh, I just got nervous. No.
All right. If you could relive any 2-hour segment of your life, you can't change it, you can't alter it, you're just going to relive it. You're going to go back and do it again. Yeah. Exactly as it played out. We're going to exclude your wedding and anything revolving around the birth of your children.
Okay.
You're welcome to use children's. We're not going to assume those things would be massive and on the list. They're just already there.
Yeah.
What 2-hour segment would you choose?
Man, that is a tough question. I think that being in the moment is really, really important. And I try to do that a lot. I have a really short memory, right? Like I have a great time and then I move on to like looking for the next great time.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of. So, I think I would pick like the vision that always comes to my head is just being on Drummond Island, which is where actually I'm getting out of my Drummond cup, where my husband is from, with our kids. And we were out on this place called Fossil Ledges, and it's, rock formation that steps down into the water. And our kids are just running around. They were probably 4 or 5 years old, and they're just running around, and we're just like splashing in the water with our friends and their kids. And it was just like the most innocent, it was just the best day. It was beautiful. It was, no one had their phones out. I don't even know that we have pictures of it.
Yeah.
And we were riding around the island in a Jeep, and like the kids are just all just like at peace. And it was just really in the moment, enjoying our friends and our family. That was pretty cool. If I could do that like every other day, I would be interested in it.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one. I actually have not lived that moment, but I would want to live that moment. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Thanks. What about you? Have you thought about that same question?
I have, and I go back and forth. I don't have like a specific moment. I feel like it would be some sort of moment where I've either just been sitting around with my family playing card games and, on vacation. Like we used to go to my parents' cabin in Ludington all the time. And so there's probably not like a 2-hour segment. It's probably more like a 4-day segment that, we would golf and we would just play cards and hang out and be in the water. Or when I was a kid and it was my 2 brothers, my sister, my parents and I, we would go camping. And that was our family vacation up until I started to get into travel basketball. That was like our vacation, and we just spent time together. Something like that would be really cool. I'm sure there's probably like a basketball game here or there that I would love to replay and be awesome.
The forefront. The other one that I thought about was like right after we, found out that we weren't going to play our NCAA tournament game. The practice that we decided to have after that was probably my all-time favorite coaching moment, even though it was like so sad and disappointing, but the passion that our like just sitting there watching our team saying that like we're going out like together. It was really cool.
That's awesome, because you don't usually get to end a season that way, like feeling like that. No, it usually ends pretty abruptly. You lose the game, you get in the locker room, you get out of there. You don't get to like feel that camaraderie as much. I don't take credit for the way that our team responded, but I do have some ownership in it. For sure. And it's been their choice. It was their choice, but I was just I'll get emotional. I'll get emotional just talking about it, because their choice to do that and embrace that and celebrate it. I mean, that's awesome. It's what we do this for. Yep. That's really cool. All right. So I'm crying already. I love it. I feel like Oprah. You had someone to cry. I love it. This is the question that scares me the most. Do you have a story or a memory like involving me that you want to share? I know this is the one that scares me the most. I think not a specific thing, but what I remember most about you is, and it didn't click for me for a while, but like just how matter of fact you were and putting the ownership back on me. When I was struggling with something, and I remember a specific time, I got pulled out of the starting lineup. I wasn't very happy about it. I was pretty clear that I was not happy about it. Again, number one jerk. And you were like, you can't change it. What are you going to do to earn what you want? That you did these things, and you can't control, but what can you do, and like just putting it back on me, like stop feeling sorry for yourself and go do something that matters.
You know, this doesn't matter.
Gosh, I don't remember that conversation at all. And I clearly gave you some decent advice.
Yeah, it was, yeah, I give that advice all the time.
Yeah.
You know, stop worrying about things that don't matter and go do something productive.
The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure at some point you've given me the same advice back.
Yeah. It's always easier.
That's when your words get used against you. That's funny. That's a good one. I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm always going to flip it back on you. So
I know.
What's a story or a memory?
Well, gosh, there's a lot. I mean, what I honestly think was good for me was in coaching you, like those moments, right? Like your group was very vocal in what they liked and didn't like, but we always knew where you stood. So it was never really like a massive like for me, it wasn't like a massive problem. I always knew where you stood, that we could have conversations and we could kind of move forward. But I think if like if we didn't know, or because we knew, I had to have those kind of conversations. I had to learn faster. Like when I started coaching, I was 22 years old and I was just out of college. It wasn't, I was like the second assistant, you know, I wasn't really like, I didn't have massive responsibilities. So I think I could connect on a little different level because you guys looked at me as the second assistant just out of college, which I was, right? I wasn't necessarily an authority figure, even though I was on the coaching staff. And so I think it was, while it was given a lot of responsibility, I could have those kind of conversations. So I think you guys challenged me at a young age to what was I going to believe in? What was I going to stand for? And if those were the things, then I had to do it and I had to follow through on those things. So I do think I learned a ton in those first few years from your group. And then the other part would clearly be, you know, for people who are listening, maybe know or don't know, you know, when I left college coaching, it was a super difficult time for me. And Kendra was one of the main people that I turned to and was is a massive reason why I've gotten through it. You know, this will make me cry. Numerous phone calls, you know, check in, see how I'm doing, just to listen. And so I'd probably say that might even be one of the things you're better at than I am. You're a much better listener than I am, way more patient in that form. But yeah, what Kendra did for me in that time frame will never be repaid. And I hope I don't have to repay it for you.
Well,
but
yeah, at some point, right? Like the heart is, the heart is how we get to the good.
Yep. No doubt. And that's something I just learned recently too, that someone said this, your character is formed in the fire of adversity. And that you should never really throw your adverse situations away. And, you know, you got to own those when someone needs your story and you're going through it so you can help somebody else. And I have definitely found that to be true.
Don't you find you learn the most about yourself in the hardest times?
Absolutely. And that's what I think we're going to find right now, and that's where I think some people are really going to struggle in this time, because you're going to figure out who you are, because you're spending a lot of time with yourself. A lot of times you can run and hide, but right now you can't really run and hide. It's you gotta deal with some stuff, you know.
Yeah. I read this book, and you know what, it was The Power of Solitude, or oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it right now. Ooh. But it talked about how important it is for leaders to take time away and be in their own thoughts and really understand what they stand for. Like and we do this with our teams all the time, but your own personal core values. What are you about? Because when the hard times come, that's all you have to lean on. That's it. Right? Do I want to get spiteful? Can I continue to push through being vulnerable at my weakest moments, or do I, armor up? This is all Brene Brown, but
love Brene.
Oh, she's the best.
This quote, so John Gordon, I know you read John Gordon. This quote was in the book Stay Positive. And he said, the character you possess during the drought is what your team will remember during the harvest. And man, I posted that the other day, and it's just like, that's what I think about all the time. It's like, how are we showing up? I work with, high school kids, and really fourth grade all the way through. And who are these kids looking to, who is leading them, and are we serving them properly, so that when we get back to the harvest, we have earned their respect and deserve to be followed by them. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so true.
Speaking of John Gordon, do you have a one word for the year? Are you a one word person, or have you ever done that?
So mine is direction. And, you know, I just want to make sure that I'm always moving in the direction that is really important to me.
Yeah.
And not just continuing to do something because it's the same way it's always been done, or, you know, whether it's parenting and my marriage, those are the two most important things in life. And then, you know, my next passion is serving others. And so how am I doing that? And am I doing that in the best way I can?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Am I, you know, one foot in front of the other? Am I going in the right direction? I think I chose navigate or first, but really it's direction. Yeah.
I like that. It's a little bit similar to mine. Mine is move. I chose move only because I want to be able to move in whatever direction I'm being called to move. I want to be ready, right? I want to be ready to move. I don't necessarily have anything tying me down here. You know, clearly my family lives around here. But when I left college, I mean, I sold my house. I don't have a, you know, I'm not full-time employed. I'm able to do whatever I want to do, wherever I want to do it. And I just want to be ready to move. And so I don't know what that direction is. I said this in a different interview, but I feel like, you know, God laughed at me and said, go ahead and sit still. Go ahead and have a seat. You know, we're not moving anywhere. But yet still trying to navigate within this period of stillness, to where I need to be headed. And there's like so many opportunities and things going on. I just got to figure out what it really is that is driving me. And I feel the same way now. Ryan had asked me this before, and like right now, the only things I'm going to do is like, I'm judging it on who I can impact, how I can impact them. And is it fulfilling to me? Like, does it bring me joy? If it doesn't do those three things, I'm probably not going to do it.
I just listened to the Dave Ramsey podcast, and he had one of his, now I can't remember her name. So names, details, not so good, but the concept, right? But she was just talking about slowing down and how, like, okay, now you have all this time to do all this stuff. And like, have you really done it? No. Then it's not very important to you. Like, I want to clean my closet. I need to clean my kids' closets out. We need to like put our Christmas decorations away. True story. Christmas decorations away.
Just keep them out. We're halfway back. Back.
I mean, talk about and how we're addicted to being busy.
Yeah.
And I've been really burnt out and really evaluating like, all this stuff important. Like, I don't have to be busy every second, but it makes me feel important. And is that really true?
Yeah.
Because I'm busy?
Yeah.
No. What am I busy with? And just like refocusing on self-care, what's really important, priorities, and then back to my direction. You know, what's really important.
We mistake busyness for productivity a lot too. So it's
cheers to that.
Yeah. Patience is a form of action. Stay patient, be still.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. I mean, that was one of the toughest things when I left college coaching, right? I went from 24 hours a day busy to nothing. And I've said this a lot, and you've heard me say it. Like, I just feel like I had to detox from that busyness for a while. And if you think about my last 18 months, I'm 16 months away from college, since I college coached. Like, I've been doing this way longer in the past 16 months than I've actually been doing things, right? Been working and busy. And so I'm comfortable. Like, I'm good. Like, I feel pretty good, but I know a lot of people are going through that detox of being busy, and that's where they're lost, right? Been talking a ton, and I know you've probably done this too. Like, with your kids, you've set up a schedule, but like, people don't have structure right now, and they're wandering. You know, they're wondering what their purpose is because they just don't have the structure that they normally have in their day. That's what we've been spending a lot of time on with our eighth grade and high school athletes. You know, it's almost like a welcome to college. You just left high school, welcome to college, because your parents aren't around to tell you what to do. You get to college.
Yeah.
Make some structure.
I have the opposite philosophy, actually.
Oh, nice. I like it.
I tried to do that for the first 2 weeks, and my kids were miserable. And part of it was because I didn't include them in any of the decisions.
Yeah.
So like now we go through and we say, here's what we're doing today. What order do you want to do this in?
Yep.
And then we hold them accountable to it. You know, we're not doing 6 hours a day of school.
Yeah.
Like just.
So I actually don't think that's the opposite philosophy.
Yeah.
I think that is structure.
Yeah, that's our structure, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. We still have structure.
Yeah. Like that's your structure for the day. It's not, they are organizing their day, but they're organizing their day. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be 6 hours of anything, you know?
Yeah. The other thing we've done, and you know, I came to the conclusion that I had been I spent so much time and energy, like doing creative things for our team, like treasure hunts and all of the learning we do, and all of this really purposeful thought put into how we're presenting things and using our time and blah, blah, blah. And I had the realization that I wasn't doing that with my kids. And my family. Like last week we did a treasure hunt. Was it a lot of
awesome
work? But it was awesome. It was so much fun. With our team, we give them time. You can take time out whenever you want. Yeah. Like you hit a point where you like, and it's different for everybody, but like doing something and you need a timeout, just go take a timeout. Yeah. Go ahead. That's okay. Cause let me tell you, mama needs a timeout every once in a while.
I love it. You're a Brene Brown fan. Did you listen to the podcast where she talked about that? Glennon Doyle.
No, I didn't. I'm reading Dare to Lead right now.
Oh, really good.
Again. And that's where we stole the timeout, because she tells a story about her being with her team and how like whenever they're meeting, if somebody's had enough and just like needs a break, they just take time out at any point in time.
Really good.
Because that's what you need. And you want people to advocate for themselves, right? You tell me what you need so I can serve you.
Yeah.
Well, then we can't penalize people for doing that.
Right. You need to listen to that podcast because she talks about how, you know, when she's really introverted, and when she travels a lot and she needs to come back and rest. She needs to like just her alone time, like crawl in a bed and talk to nobody. And she had gotten home and her son had a soccer game or a sporting event of some sort. And she felt the pull to go to that game. And she was finally like, I can't, my body just is like, no. And she went to bed, and her son got home and was like, hey, where were you? Blah, blah, blah. And she was like, hey, so when I travel, and she was explaining it all to him. And she's like, sometimes I just need time by myself. And he's like, okay. And then like left. And the next day was like his birthday. And he gave her a list of what he wanted. And the number one thing he wanted was alone time. And she was like, alone time? And he was like, I didn't know that we could ask for that. He's like, you know how sometimes
I just got goosebumps.
I know. Sometimes when we have these big parties, and sometimes I just want to go to my room for like 5 minutes. Like I'll come back. He's like, but it just gets too crazy for me, and I just want to go be alone. He's like, but I didn't know that was something we could ask for. And so she was talking about like being yourself, because somebody needs to know that it's okay, and like teaching your kids those things that she thought she was making this big mistake, and it ended up being something her son needed. It was really good. She'll tell it way better than I just did, but it was super good. Yeah. So you've talked about a couple podcasts, Dave Ramsey, you talk about reading Brene Brown. Are these like some influences, people you follow, or do you have other influences?